What is your absolutely favorite quote you've heard? Happiness is to be found along the way, not at the end of the road. Robert Updike. Be as you wish to seem. Socrates. This is a solid foundation for life. Emo. In a similar vein, we must be careful who we pretend to be, because we are who we pretend to be. Vonnegut. Often, the less there is to justify a traditional custom, the harder it is to get rid of it. Mark Twain. Love his quotes. One of my faves is, politicians and diapers should be changed often and for the same reason. I've all sad words of tongue or pen. The saddest are these. It might have been John Greenleaf Whittier. The only hypocrite I like is myself. I love hypocrites. They double their chance of agreeing with me. I never wonder to see men wicked, but I often wondered to see them not ashamed. Jonathan Swift. Or, everything in moderation, including moderation. Oscar Wilde. Another Oscar Wilde. I can resist everything but temptation. Another, work is the curse of the drinking classes. A cynic knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. It's okay to go through awful places, just don't stop and unpack. If you're going throughout hell, keep going. There is considerable overlap between the intelligence of the smartest bears and the dumbest. Tourist. Yellowstone Park Ranger. You can't legislate against stupidity. Australian MP after woman gets eaten for swimming in crocodile-infested waters. Aussies don't pull punches. That's straight up brutal. Fuck it. I was reading this story too of her friend who was trying to pull her to safety but her friend got dragged under. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. Never quit. Make them fire you. Guy who got fired. Guy the first you used to work with. Name withheld. I was new to the job, having a tough time, and I was really feeling like I wasn't cut out for the work and considering quitting. This guy, who'd been on the job a lot longer, told me that, and while it was simple, it stuck with me. They hadn't fired me yet, so clearly I wasn't screwing up as badly as I thought I was. No sense in beating myself up over something even before the bosses do. If not for him, I probably would have quit and never given myself the chance to actually get better. A guy the first used to work with said something similar. You are nervous. Good. That means you're going to do your best to not fuck up. I was working a few weddings and it was nerve-wracking to me because of both the sheer amount of people that would see my mistakes and the gravity of, say, dropping a bottle of champagne. Thinking of nervousness as a good quality rather than a bad one really helped me. Eventually, all our graves go unattended. Conan O'Brien. There's a moment in the future where you are remembered one last time. Fuck. There's a really old saying that goes something like, a man dies twice. Once when he breathes for the last time. Second when his name is said for the last time. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Aristotle. Edit. Wow, woke up to find that I got my first silver. Thanks, kind stranger. A ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are for. One moment of patience, in a moment of anger, can save 1,000 moments of regret. There's a similar quote from Marcus Aurelius. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? That dude was a quote machine. Meditations reads like 1, 2. Even the finest sword plunged into salt water will eventually rust. Sun Tzu. Edit. I hate to edit a comment that's doing fine on its own, but I just want to say that I translate this as, you can be the very best at something, but if you're not in the right environment to prosper, you will never become all that you could be. I've met a handful of amazing people in life that could be so much more than they are if they only changed their environment. Laughs in stainless steel. Stainless steel has shit tons of its own problems. And it doesn't stay stainless forever. Eventually, all stainless steel will rust. It is possible to make no mistakes and lose. That is not failure, that is life. Captain Jean-Luc Picard. This reminds me of Jim Carrey's commencement speech. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that was possible for him. And so, he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job and our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. Looks back at life, I've made a huge mistake. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan "Press on" has solved, and always will solve, the problems of the human race. Calvin Coolidge. This one gives me hope. How lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Winnie the Pooh. What day is it? Asked Pooh. Why, it's a day, squeaked Piglet. Ah, my favorite day, said Pooh. Highly recommend the Tao of Pooh. What day is it? Asked Pooh. Why, it's a day, squeaked Piglet. You know what the fuck I mean, said Pooh. I mentioned this to someone and he immediately started Googling the Tower of Pooh. Almost peed my pants. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Or, the more simplified version from Jake the Dog, sucking at something is the first step towards being sorta good at something. The true master is an eternal student. Master Yi. League has a lot of good quotes, especially Yi. Anger gives motivation without purpose. You can sit on a throne. That doesn't make you a ruler. It only means you have an ass. Swain has some amazing stuff too. There can be no balance with a hand on the scale. Biology is really chemistry. Chemistry is really physics. Physics is really math. Math is really hard. If at first you don't succeed, then skydiving definitely isn't for you. Stephen Wright. When you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all. The space cloud from Futurama. I once saw a documentary about the Y2K bug, and one guy, who was a programmer, said, "You never get credit for the disasters you avert. Especially if you're a programmer and nobody understands what you're doing to begin with." That's exactly why they're anti-vaxxers. It's hard to show people that something is working when it working means nothing happens. I am already certain that whatever resistance to climate change we will put up, people will claim it was for nothing, because things will already go downhill and nobody will understand how much worse it could have been. The only reason you should look into your neighbor's bowl is to make sure they have enough to eat. That entire scene is great. Edit, but it's not fair. From where is that exactly? Can't seem to recall. Louis. His daughters are fighting and the young one keeps saying how it's not fair she didn't get the same thing as her older sister. That show has a lot of good moments. If the world breaks your legs, you go and beat it with your crutch. George Watsky. Edit. My first award. Thank you. When I'm tested, I remember I've been blessed with that tender ember resting left of center in my chest is a good one too. He's got a lot of great quotes. I don't remember where I heard it, but I try to live by it now. If you have a problem, and then you spend a bunch of energy worrying and fretting about it, then you have two problems. Edit. This quote, philosophy existed long before "don't worry, be happy." But I'd take that any day over being told it came from Newt fucking Scamander. I get it. It's in the Harry Potter spin-off. And then you procrastinate solving it until the last minute. Now you've got 3 problems. Whenever I have a problem, I just throw a Molotov cocktail and boom, different problem. Now you're thinking with Bortles. People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. A.A. Milne. Any fool can be happy. It takes a man with real heart to make beauty out of the stuff that makes us weep. Clive Barker. I do not love the bright sword for its sharpness, nor the arrow for its swiftness, nor the warrior for his glory. I love only that which they defend. Faramir. J.R.R. Tolkien. Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Edit. Thank you for the gold. Also, this has made me so happy to see how many other people appreciate this quote. It's truly one of my absolute favorites, trying to work it into a tattoo design. And to all of the procrastinators out there, it's the job that's never started as takes longest to finish. Samwise Gamgee. Finally, I understand. Home isn't where you rest, it's what you fight for. Many that live deserve death, and some that die deserve life. Can you give it to them? Then do not be too eager to deal out death in judgment. It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. Fight Club. If they can make penicillin out of moldy bread, they can make something out of you. Muhammad Ali. Moldy bread was actually good for something else at one point. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Andy Bernard. The Office. I also like Creed's quote from the end of the show. It all seems so very arbitrary. I applied for a job at this company because they were hiring. I took a desk at the back because it was empty. But no matter how you get there or where you end up, human beings have this miraculous gift to make that place home. Oh, the Don't Rape People class. I can teach this in 10 seconds. Look. Never touch. But it's okay to look. Just never touch unless they say it's okay. Random drill sergeant who burst in the room during my basic training sexual assault prevention class. They have to dumb it down for the dumbasses. Pretty sure it worked. None of the guys from my flight raped anyone. As far as I know. I have most of them on Facebook. Are you having a bad day? Or did you have a bad 5 minutes and are letting it ruin your whole day? Quote. Honestly got this off an AskReddit video. But it's a pretty good one emo. Depends on the 5 minutes. For when you're speeding, when you're running late. Better late in this life than early in the next. My grandma, who died of breast cancer, told me this once not long before she died. Has really stuck with me for whatever reason. Edit. Wow, thank you for my first gold. Today is a good day indeed. Edit again. Wow, thank you for the silver as well. You guys are the best and wish you all a wonderful day. If you look for the darkness, that's all you will ever see. But if you look for the light, often you will find it. Iro. Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility is the only antidote to shame. Iro. Edit. Typo. Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not. Iro. It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If you take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Iro. Something more recent I remember from HBO's Chernobyl series. Every lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth. Sooner or later that debt is paid. Valery Legasov. What is the one thing better than an exquisite meal? An exquisite meal with one tiny flaw, we can pick it all night. Frasier. You are without a doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of, but you have heard of me. A boat doesn't sink because it's in water, it sinks when it lets the water in. I believe this is the original quote. An entire sea of water can't sink a ship unless it gets inside the ship. Similarly, The negativity of the world can't put you down unless you allow it to get inside you. Gyo Inasu. The greatest cruelty is our casual blindness to the despair of others. If you meet 3 assholes before lunch, you're the asshole. Dang, I was going to post this. But here's how I first heard it. If you meet an asshole in the morning, you've met an asshole. If you meet assholes all day, you're the asshole. Raylan Gibbons. Justified. Blowing out someone else's candle doesn't make yours shine brighter. You fucking donut, of course you don't microwave a salad. Gordon Ramsay. Username checks out. He probably waited all his life for this moment. I guess if you want children beaten, you have to do it yourself. Bender. Have you ever tried turning off the TV, sitting down with your children, and hitting them? Bender Bending Rodriguez. Fate rarely calls upon us at a moment of our choosing. Optimus Prime. It's easy to look at people and make quick judgments about them, their present and their past, but you'd be amazed at the pain and tears a single smile hides. What a person shows to the world is only one tiny facet of the iceberg hidden from sight. And more often than not, it's lined with cracks and scars that go all the way to the foundation of their soul. Sherilyn Kenyon. Never look down on someone unless you're helping them up. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves. Then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. Shel Silverstein. I hate to advocate drugs, alcohol, violence, or insanity to anyone, but they've always worked for me. Hunter S. Thompson. It always seems impossible until it's done. Edit. Nelson Mandela. I guess we're all someone else to someone else. Calvin's mom. Calvin and Hobbes. Bill Watterson. I just wish more people would realize it, and I wish I would live by it more. It would make the world so much better and less shitty. When the Great Library burned, the first 10,000 years of stories were reduced to ash. But those stories never really perished. They became a new story. The story of the fire itself. Of Mont's urge to take a thing of beauty and strike the match. Sir Anthony Hopkins. As Ford in Westworld. Every single day of my life has been worse than the day before it. So that means that every single day that you see me, that's on the worst day of my life. Peter Gibbons. Office Space. Worst day of your life, so far. Tilda Homer Simpson. The most important step a man can take. It's not the first one. Is it? It's the next one. Always the next step. Dalinar. Brandon Sanderson. It is not our abilities that show who we truly are. It is our choices. Albus Dumbledore. My personal one from him is, of course it is happening in your head, Harry. But why should that mean it isn't real? Quote. We don't have mistakes here, only happy accidents. Bob Ross, during a painting lesson. I'm ugly and I'm proud. SpongeBob SquarePants. Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not. Iroh. And remember that bad times are just times that are bad. Katrina from Animal Crossing. What we've got here is failure to communicate. Cool Hand Luke, 1967. You don't need a costume to make a difference. Spider-Man. Abe Lincoln once said that if you are a racist I will attack you with the North. Michael Scott. Michael Scott has so many good quotes. One of my favorites is "Don't be an idiot, changed my life." Whenever I'm about to do something I think, would an idiot do that? Quote. And if they would, I do not do that thing. War is when the young and stupid are tricked by the old and bitter into killing each other. Nico Bellic. This too shall pass. Gets me through things.
Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.